Captain Jake Miller stood on the bridge of the starship Aurora, watching the massive alien vessel approach Earth orbit. The ship was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, with smooth, silver surfaces that seemed to flow like liquid metal. 3 months ago, first contact protocols had been activated when the alien ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. Now, after weeks of careful communication, they were finally meeting face to face. Lieutenant Amy Carson turned from her console, her face pale. "Captain, the alien delegation is requesting permission to board." Jake nodded, his heart racing. "Grant them access to Docking Bay 7 and have Commander Lisa Brooks meet them there with the diplomatic team." The alien ship was from a species, calling themselves the Zephyrians. They had traveled from a distant galaxy seeking new allies in what they described as an ancient war against a destructive force known only as the Void. As Jake walked toward the docking bay, he thought about how this moment would change everything for humanity. The Zephyrians possessed technology far beyond human understanding. They could offer protection, knowledge, and advancement beyond human dreams. The docking bay doors hissed open and Jake felt his breath catch. 3 figures emerged from the alien craft, but it was the one in the center that made him stop in his tracks. She was tall and graceful with skin that shimmered like starlight. Her hair moved as if floating in water despite the normal gravity. Her eyes were large and luminous, shifting between deep blue and violet. She wore robes that seemed to be made of condensed nebula clouds. Commander Brooks stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Miller of the Earth Defense Force, the alien." Woman approached with fluid movements that reminded Jake of a dancer. She stopped before him and tilted her head, studying his face with those mesmerizing eyes. "I am Zara Prime, navigator of the Zephyrian fleet," she said, her voice like music. "We have come seeking alliance with your people." Jake tried to maintain his composure but found himself speaking before thinking. "You are incredibly beautiful." The words hung in the air, and Jake immediately regretted them. This was a diplomatic meeting, not a social gathering. He had potentially insulted an advanced alien species. Zara's eyes widened, and she took a step back. "Beautiful." She repeated the word slowly, as if tasting it. "What does this word mean to your kind?" Jake felt his face burning with embarrassment. "I apologize, Navigator Zara. I meant no disrespect. The word beautiful means something that brings joy, to look upon something that moves the heart." Zara was silent for a long moment, her companions exchanging glances. Jake worried he had damaged humanity's first chance at an alien alliance. Then something unexpected happened. Zara's eyes began to glow brighter, and what could only be described as tears began flowing down her cheeks. "In 3,000 years of life," she whispered, "no being has ever called me beautiful." Jake's confusion must have shown on his face, because Zara continued, her voice thick with emotion. "Among my people I am considered flawed, damaged. I was born with these eyes that change color instead of remaining the proper silver. My hair moves independently, which is seen as a sign of instability. My skin shimmers when it should be matte." She gestured to her companions, who Jake now noticed had indeed different features. Their skin was flat silver, their hair hung straight, and their eyes were uniform metallic gray. "I was made navigator not because of honor, but because it kept me away from Zephyrian society, traveling the void between stars, where my strangeness would not offend others." Jake felt a surge of anger at the injustice. "On Earth, differences in appearance are celebrated, not condemned. Your features would be considered extraordinary, beautiful by human standards." Zara's tears continued flowing, but now she was smiling. "In my culture, tears are only shed when experiencing something beyond comprehension. I am crying because for the first time in my existence I feel valued for who I am, rather than despite who I am." Commander Brooks stepped closer. "This changes our negotiation parameters significantly, Navigator Zara. If you are treated as an outcast by your people, perhaps individual alliances might be more beneficial than species-wide agreements." One of Zara's companions, a stern-looking male with the traditional silver features, spoke up. "That would be considered treason, Navigator." Zara, your personal feelings cannot override Zephyrian law. Zara turned to face her companion Sub-Commander Kex. I have spent 3 millennia serving a people who view me as broken. I have navigated ships across impossible distances, fought void creatures that would terrify our greatest warriors, and maintained loyalty, despite constant rejection. Her voice grew stronger with each word. Perhaps it is time to consider where true loyalty should lie. Jake watched as the political situation shifted before his eyes. What had started as a simple first contact was becoming something far more complex. Navigator Zara, he said gently, if you choose to remain with us, you would be welcomed. As you are, no changes required. No conformity expected. Zara's glowing eyes met his, and Jake felt something pass between them, an understanding that transcended species barriers. Sub-Commander Kex stepped forward. Navigator, if you abandon your post, it will be considered desertion. The Zephyrian fleet will view Earth as harboring a fugitive. Jake moved to stand beside Zara. Then let them come. Earth has faced extinction before. We will not abandon someone who seeks freedom. Commander Brooks activated her communicator. Captain, I recommend we go to high alert. The Zephyrian fleet consists of 12 ships, each capable of destroying continents. Zara shook her head. No, they will not attack immediately. Zephyrian law requires a formal challenge period. I have 72 of your hours to return or face judgment. What kind of judgment? Jake asked, though. He suspected he already knew death or exile to the void realms where the ancient enemies dwell. Jake made a decision that would change the course of human history. Navigator Zara, I formally request that you accept asylum with Earth. In return, we would be honored if you would share your knowledge and help us prepare for whatever conflicts lie ahead. Zara's response came without hesitation. Accept. The next 72 hours were a whirlwind of activity. Zara shared technological advances that pushed human science forward by centuries. She taught human engineers how to modify their ships' shields to resist void creature attacks. She revealed navigation techniques that would allow faster-than-light travel across galactic distances. But more importantly, she shared her personal story with Jake during the long preparation sessions. On Zephyros, she had been assigned to the navigation corps not as an honor but as exile. Beautiful features were considered signs of genetic deviation, possibly linked to void creature influence. Her unique abilities, which allowed her to sense dimensional rifts and navigate impossible space, were feared rather than celebrated. Jake found himself falling for this remarkable being who had been treated as broken by her own people while possessing abilities that made her extraordinary. As the deadline approached, the Zephyrian fleet moved into Earth, orbit 12 massive ships that dwarfed even the largest human vessels. Captain Miller, this is Admiral Thex of the Zephyrian fleet. Return our navigator, or face the consequences. Jake stood on the bridge with Zara beside him. Admiral Thex. Navigator, Zara has requested asylum. She is free to make her own choices. The response came swiftly. You harbor a genetic deviant who has abandoned her duty. Prepare for consequences. But Jake had a surprise waiting. The past 3 days had not just been spent learning from Zara. Humanity's best scientists had been working around the clock to implement her teachings. As the Zephyrian ships moved to attack position, Earth ships emerged from behind the moon ships that now bore shield generators based on Zara's design's weapons that could target the dimensional engines Zara had explained, or the Zephyrian fleets. Weakness. Admiral Thex. This is Captain Miller. We do not wish conflict, but we will defend our guest. The battle that followed was brief. The Zephyrian fleet discovered that their outcast navigator had given humans the tools to level the playing field. What should have been a one-sided destruction became an even match. In the end, it was Zara herself who ended the conflict. She broadcast on all Zephyrian frequencies, speaking in her musical language. When she finished, the alien ships began to withdraw. What did you tell them? Jake asked. I told them the truth. She replied, that humans see beauty in difference, strength in diversity. They fear genetic deviation because they believe it leads to chaos. I showed them it leads to growth. Several Zephyrian ships remained behind. Their crews requested asylum as well. It seemed Zara was not the only one who had felt restricted by her society's rigid conformity. Months later, as Jake and Zara watched Earth sunrise from the observation deck of the now expanded space station, she turned to him. "You called me beautiful and changed everything," she said. Jake took her shimmering hand in his. "You were always beautiful. Your people just could not see it." As they watched the sun rise over a world now defended by a combined human Zephyrian fleet with technology that would have been impossible alone, Jake realized that sometimes the most important diplomatic breakthroughs come not from governments or treaties, but from one person seeing the beauty in another. The war against the void creatures was still coming, but now humanity and the free Zephyrians would face it together, united not by political necessity, but by the simple recognition that difference with strength and beauty could be found in the most unexpected places. And it all started because one human captain was honest enough to call an alien Woma